Spies. Saboteurs. Assassins. We've all done terrible things on behalf of the rebellion.
Cassian Andor. Don't matter what you tell me or tell yourself. You'll ultimately die fighting these bastards. Wouldn't you rather give it all at once to something real?
We've chosen a side. We're fighting against the dark.
There is an organized rebel effort. Drill down and get a hunt started.
You realize what you set in motion? People will suffer.
Time has come to force their hand.
At what cost?
Everything!
Every day we wait, they get stronger.
Let's take them by surprise.
For the greater good.
Call it what you will.
Let's call it war.
People are standing up. They're afraid. Right now, they're afraid. Let's go!
Star Wars Andor, 3-episode premiere, streaming September 21st.
Hello there.
This is what Star Wars is about. This is what Star Wars is about.
Dude, I don't even know if I'm actually ready for this to happen. Like, it's 2018 is when they announced this, and it's finally here.
Was it
like Rogue One was so damn good, and now we're getting.
I feel like it was later than 2018.
It was the
original.
original. Came out. That's when they tweeted. It was 2016 when Rogue One came out.
That's right. Damn.
Yeah.
That's so weird. That seems so long ago. Like that seems like a completely. Oh my god.
We've kind of lost all concept of time in the last few years here.
Welcome everyone.
Hello there.
Thank you for joining us on this amazing another episode of Dork Forces podcast.
The Dork
we are
Forces.
Here on Andor Eve. So we are gonna. Oh God, we have so much to talk about. About. But what I find most hilarious was like either last week or 2 weeks ago was that little statement that somebody put out of how nothing in Andor's or nothing in the first 3 episodes is going to be fan service.
Oh
like there isn't going to be any Easter eggs. Like it's just going to be dialogue, and it's like, bro, that's the
strap
part,
in.
You know,
apparently we're diving right into this.
The whole series is the fan service. Like it doesn't like everything.
That's a very good point.
Everything that's talked about or that's going to be talked about it's like all of this is pure fan service because of all the Rogue One people out there. So
exactly. Like at the end of the day, the fact that the show exists is fan service, you know, getting to see Mon Mothma behind the scenes with the inner
which is an Easter egg already. Like she's becoming like, you know, kind of the golden thread of the rebellion history throughout like the various films, and she's even been in the Filoni stuff. So
totally, she's absolutely like been in the forefront in quite a few different pieces of media recently. I think the issue here is with that reviewer in particular as well, is that the terms like fan service and Easter egg they're being used interchangeably to mean all kinds of different things. And when the showrunner Tony Gilroy said this is not going to have like a bunch of fan service in it, that's like saying that Luke Skywalker is not going to show up, look directly into the camera, and say these truly were the Star Wars. Like that's not going to happen. But like we already have seen the trailers. We have seen visual Easter eggs, like plenty of them. Like, and the show's not even out yet. So to say that there aren't going to be those is not the same statement at all. Like and not all those choices are going to come from the showrunner either. Too, the showrunner is in charge of the story and like the direction, but like. The guy in charge of the art direction is the set decorator who is deciding what blasters are hanging on the wall in the background and like what droids you're going to see and things like that. And those are mostly what Easter eggs are, at least to me, is like when you make a show that's in such an established universe that it like has existed in so many forms before, it's almost impossible not to just start including things, not just because it stitches together, because it stitches the universe together, but also because it's just like, it's fun and it's easier because these props exist. You know, they've already got all these assets made for other things. You know, you'll see the same speeder in Book of Boba Fett that you will in Kenobi, that you will in like Mandalorian, even though they're totally different time periods, different planets. It's the same goddamn blue speeder
because the same technology.
Because it's like a Toyota and there's thousands of them in the galaxy. Exactly. So like,
which is hilarious that nobody like that never really gets brought up of like in the Star Wars universe, like, yo, like how many car companies are there? You know, like each planet has its own individual look. Like the Naboo speeders and the Naboo ships totally have their own very specific, like, you know, model look. But everything else is like, there's no way that you could like, there's no Hondas, there's no, you know, like Priuses of the Star Wars
I think there are, but we would have to live on Corellia to be able to really be like, oh, that's this such and such speeder and that's a such and such speeder. But like every planet has a Toyota, a Ford, a Mitsubishi, and a BMW, like every single one of them, you know. But they're all just like that within that culture. So Naboo has a bunch of different manufacturers and they look wildly different to each other if you're from Naboo. But if you're from like Tatooine, you're like, they all look shiny. I can't tell them apart. They're the same thing.
They're shiny and pointy, yeah.
Right, exactly. They're way too Doug Chiang. I come from that Macquarie planet over there, so I don't get this. I don't know. I feel like
yeah. But like the Briar
American
pistol,
cars all kind of look the same.
or
to me, you know?
the screenshot that just came out recently of Skarsgård's character talking to Mothma. No, it was somebody else. But it was
Luthen and Mothma.
Yeah, and it had the Plo Koon, or at least like the species that Plo Koon is, like the respirator mask was like on display.
It's Keldor breathing mask.
Yeah, dude. So like that in itself is an Easter egg. So it's like you can't fucking sit there and tell me that there's not going to be any Easter eggs in this show when there's things like
this
that.
Is Cassian's goddamn blaster, all right? Like it. Oh yeah, other blaster he was holding was a DL-44, Han Solo's blaster. That in itself is an Easter egg. I don't know. I don't think people should have their like high hopes set on cameos from this and that. I think there will be some cameos, but they're not going to be the way that you think, and they're not going to be as like impactful or have as much focus as maybe you would like them to.
Dude, I was just thinking that. Okay, so prediction. Like Qyburn. So like Qyburn, for example, like they keep.
Who is he? I need to know.
Like they were showing his face a lot in the beginning, and then the last few months they totally like kind of took him away. So like I was thinking about like, oh cool, what if he is like going to be one of the main Imperial guys? And then literally as we were just rewatching this trailer, I was like, bro, watch him just be like some prison warden, and he's only in one episode, and that's like, god damn it, like they're gonna bring in Qyburn to be like this really cool looking Krennic kind of guy. And
pull another. I mean, Star Wars did that with The Force Awakens, man. Max von Sydow, such an amazing actor. He got like 3 lines, and then Kylo just.
That's true. Or
Werner Herzog in The Mandalorian, dude. Like
that's true.
Incredible. I would like to see the baby. And he lasted several episodes, but he just got like ganked, and we never even learned his name. Right? He's still just like the client.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put it past him to do that, but at the same time. I think it's Stellan Skarsgård. We're going to get him for a minute here. He's probably going to die.
Skarsgård? For sure. Qyburn got Skarsgård.
You're talking about Qyburn. Yeah. I think we're going to have an episode where Qyburn's in charge of some facility,
and that's
going to be like a heist type thing, and we're going to be in and out, and he's going to be the big bad while we're there. Could be a prison.
Yeah, I was thinking he was going to be like the prison warden of the original building that Andor has to like break out of that we see in the first trailers. But
it could. That's very possible. But at the same time, we also have Deidre, the
blonde
ISB officer.
Yeah,
she's got to be chewed out by her superiors at some point, because it wouldn't be Star Wars without an Imperial yelling at a smaller Imperial. So I feel like he might just be like running the bureau.
Yeah,
he could be a prison guard, or he could be like high up in the ISB, giving Deidre and her like coworkers their marching orders, and we see him in that capacity. Like he's kind of like a keeper. But he's just, dude, he's just so slimy and scheming, and he was just so awesome.
I'm so pumped to see Qyburn again, man.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And speaking of fucking Game of Thrones, we'll talk about last night, or not last night, but the other night.
We got. I'll tell you guys in the audience that Bendu and I kind of got heated in our texts talking about House of the Dragon. It turns out we don't fall on the same side of the issue.
I mean, no. The only thing, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that when we get there. One thing at a time. So we'll
get to that later.
Yeah, continuing on the Andor hype train, because we're literally just like a few hours away. I see a few people in the comments asking about Vader or Palpatine. I really don't think or hope they'll show up in this show. Like we've said in
that would be the kind of fan
prior,
service they're saying we're not going to get. That's like the big fan service.
In prior episodes, we've talked about. I would be still super happy if we get Krennic even, or I'd be.
And
still,
I don't think that would necessarily be fan service.
The highest
Krennic makes
we
sense.
might see is Tarkin. Like Tarkin might be the highest level official that we could even see in this show, and I would still be stoked to see Tarkin because
Tarkin would be amazing. Tarkin would actually be really, really cool because Tarkin is kind of where the whole CGI face adventure started. Rogue One, when they brought Peter Cushing back from the dead for that scene with CGI Tarkin, when you go back, it still looks okay.
It looks way better than the CGI Leia, which is really funny.
Interestingly, yes. He looks like he's CGI in the year 2022 watching that film. In 2016 in the theater with all the emotions and everything, I was fully
I think his
sold.
mouth does. The rest of him looks pretty good. There's some moments where he just really has the super British small lip, no lip, skinny mouth thing. But overall,
for me, there was something uncanny valley about his nose and when it moved. It looked fine in a still, but when it moved, there was something strange about it. But then we got Luke and we got because we've got they've perfected it. No one can argue that they haven't perfected that since. That I'm sure they would love to take the chance to go back to where it all began with that Tarkin and just redo them and make them absolutely perfect
too. It was like it was more believable just because of the Krennic actors, deliverance of everything. But you wouldn't have believed that he was just talking to a CGI person the whole time. I mean, granted, there was a body double, obviously.
Yes.
But I don't know. It wasn't
Guy Henry.
In my opinion. It really wasn't that bad in my opinion.
Oh, it wasn't. I'm not trying to criticize it. I'm just saying that as the years have gone on, when you compare it to the more recent CGI, there's an obvious difference there. And you can see that it was in the early stages of being screen ready. And honestly, one of it or not, part of the legacy of Star Wars is going back and changing shit. That's just
oh my god, that's right.
Always been a thing. Ever since the special editions in 1997, we've just we love to retread old things and fix things that aren't broken. That's our favorite thing to do here. So in The Mandalorian, Admiral Jeff Blue Jeans standing in that hallway, they've gone back and removed him. They've gone back and they've cleaned that up. I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to their Rogue One copy on Disney Plus and redid their Tarkin, just to bring it up to the production value of Mark Hamill's face in Book of Boba Fett was,
That's true.
Yeah, I think for me, if I had to pick characters that I want to see, I think Agent Callus would be on there.
Oh yeah,
young Callus,
100%.
That would be amazing.
The more rebels people we get live action, the better. But yeah, there's definitely, there's plenty of characters and things that they could play reference to and bring on, and it would still be great.
I thought it looked really great too. That's what I'm saying. In the theater in 2016, hella pumped because of watching Star Wars. You could have shown me anything, I would have believed it, and it did look really good. It was better than anything else we'd seen, to that date.
It was also the
it's
last
just been
time,
surpassed since.
It was also the last time we heard James Earl Jones Vader without the revoicer too.
Without respeecher, yeah, that's right.
What was I just gonna say? I got distracted by Vader, which is appropriate.
That happens. No, you get distracted when Vader walks in, for sure.
Yeah. But
100% agreed. If you haven't seen Flash Gordon, definitely check it out. I forgot that Max von Sydow was the Emperor in that. He is amazing. Wonder what Luthen's deal is. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I would prefer to be discussing what to expect story-wise and what we think characters are going to be all about and what they're going to do, rather than what connections might be made, because that's a dangerous game to play, because I don't want to set expectations to disappoint myself when such and such people don't show up, I would rather speculate wildly about is Luthen the real deal? Is he going to turn on them in the last second? Someone in this cast that's part of the rebellion is totally going to be an Imperial plant that's going to betray them in the 11th hour, because that just has to happen to me. Especially
it didn't happen in Rogue One necessarily.
It didn't happen in Rogue One, which
never
means
got-
it's a perfect
yeah.
opportunity to do it now.
That's fair.
If they
The
did it
fact
in
that
Rogue
it's
One, I
also
wouldn't
the same
expect it here because
director as the Bourne Legacy too. Like, just emphasizes more how cloak and dagger that this is going to be. And
Cloak and blaster. That's the term that
Yeah.
I thought of.
cloak and blaster is so fucking brilliant. But yeah, it's like it's going to be so different, but still so Star Wars at the same time. Like, yeah, I'm all for it.
It's yeah, I love the Bourne movies personally, like, and I just love that whole genre of like intelligence versus counterintelligence, and they're fighting a very brutal battle against each other, and it's like in broad daylight in public, and no one notices because they're so clandestine about how they're going about it, you know? Like all the scenes in the Bourne movies where he's in like this massive crowd of people and he's trying to like dodge the cameras, you know, like keeps like changing his disguises and stuff, and like it's so cool. I'm just the idea of bringing that energy to the Star Wars setting makes me very excited. Like, I think that's gonna be great. Do you think Saw Gerrera is gonna be like friend or foe in this show?
I think he's going to be way more.
Because we know Mon Mothma does not like him at this point. Who's
at this
interacting
point,
with
this
Saw?
is like
Is it
the
going to be
beginning of
Andor or
the
is it going to be Mon
relationship,
Mothma?
I think.
Totally, both.
Sorry,
That's
let
kind of his whole
me
thing.
rephrase that. I think this is the beginning of their interactions and relationships when it comes to the rebellion. So I don't think she's going to see him as much of an extremist as she says in Rogue One. I think this is going to give all more context to what she means.
Interesting. So this could be like the story of how she sours on him. Like,
Because in Clone Wars, when we see, you know, young Saw Gerrera, like he's not like rage filled or anything, you know, but he's still
we see why he becomes it. He loses his sister in Clone Wars, and that's kind of where it starts. It's like right at the end of that arc. When we leave him, he's like grieving and all upset, but like clearly that kind of festered into anger rather than like acceptance. Because then we see him in Bad Batch, which would be the next closest thing.
But he doesn't really do much in Bad Batch, though.
No, but clearly he's like just living the militant life, going from planet to planet, fighting fascism rather than trying to rebuild Onderon, for example. You know, that kind of speaks to his mental state. The place that he like fought and gave everything to protect, he just leaves it behind and goes and fights elsewhere.
Well, dude, the Empire got pretty strong pretty fast, and then his sister died. So, like,
I mean, for sure,
he needed to level up. He needed to do some side quests and learn how to be a true revolutionary. And then
there are a lot of time jumps in Andor, and I think Andor is going to start before Rebels and end after Rebels, because Mon Mothma already doesn't like Saw in Rebels.
Yes.
And I think we're going to see young Andor for the first like few episodes, and then we're going to grow up and then like jump forward a couple of years. That's what they said a long time ago. And so I think that like at some section of the show will be before Rebels takes place. But I think the majority of it will be alongside and after Rebels, because it's leading up to Rogue One, you know?
Yes. Yeah, because Andor comes from one of the not Outer Rim.
I can't wait. I'm so
not
dope.
Outer Rim.
So
what are they? What's the name for the just the outer planets, the extended
Outer Rim, unknown regions.
Oh no, not that far out from the outer
Rim.
But we use it. Okay. He came from a separatist planet. That's what I was trying to say. That's
Andor. Yeah, Andor was a separatist originally.
He was totally separatist. So it'll be interesting. Like,
he's been in this fight since he was 6 years old.
Because when we see young Andor, like it'll be like what, maybe 5 years after the Clone Wars. So like it'll be the very start of the Empire building, like what we saw in the Bad Batch. So yeah, it'll be cool to see the foundational startings of the whole story and where Rebels takes place, because this is the whole other side of the universe.
Will the Empire already? I think he saw the Clone Wars as a child. I think he's a young man when the Empire rises, because his family were separatists. That's what they said. I think he was like old enough to when he says 6 years old. I think he was talking about fighting the Republic when he was 6 years old.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Interesting.
You have to clear me up on the timeline.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll make it known to us in more ways than just like a little timestamp. They'll actually like show us technology or like refer to events. We'll see what phase of clone armor is going on. Like there's all these little landmarks that we have that'll let us know what time period we're looking at any given time. And of course, the age-old TV thing, some character is going to have a beard that gets longer and longer and longer, or like hair that gets longer and longer to show the passage of time.
That's
like,
true.
The oldest trick in the book, and they can't resist doing that. And like it's hilarious. Doesn't matter how advanced technology gets. We still got to put someone in an increasingly large wig to show that a year has gone by. And I hope that never changes. I think TV should always be a little bit campy, no matter how big budget it is, especially Star Wars.
That's true. They do.
This is a show for adults. That's what everyone keeps saying. It's a show for adults, like grown-ups. And
Andor?
That's what. Yeah,
I can see that.
The showrunners are saying
there's going to be a lot of violence.
I think. See, that's just it. I want to examine what adult means, because does that mean that it's going to be really violent? Does it mean that it's going to not pull punches, talking about issues that might make the audience uncomfortable? I hope the answer is yes.
I think there'll be a lot of dialogue and a lot of more intellectual, conceptual sort of stuff. Like
exactly
fly over kids' heads.
When I think show for adults, I think massive amount of exposition. We have a ratio, like I think the ratio of dialogue to action is going to be very different to the previous shows. And I think that some people might consider like episodes to be filler just because there aren't explosions happening every 5 minutes.
I saw a tweet about that shit or something.
And I think that is kind of what it means by a show for adults as well. It means we don't have to throw in a car chase every 5 minutes just to hold your damn attention. There are other nuanced issues that you need to pay attention to.
Like this is about world building. Like this show is about the building, the transition from one from the prequels, to the main storyline, and then at some point, probably with the Ahsoka series or later on with Mando, we'll see more of the transition from the original trilogy into the sequels.
Yes, definitely building up to the sequels. I think all of our new, like this new era of Star Wars content, no matter what no matter what aspect it's focusing on, is going to slowly be stitching the tapestry and like closing that gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Like it's going to be a weird awakening when all of the people who like are so positive about the Mandalorian and the Filoni verse, if you will, for not having anything to do with the sequels and talking about how it's going to like retcon the future and be this whole different timeline, are going to be very upset when the First Order shows up and Snoke gets mentioned and like all these things happen. It's like the Mandalorian season 3 trailer has Babu Frick. All right, if that doesn't let you know exactly what's about to happen, like
which is amazing, which is fucking hilarious.
I can't wait. But I think that there are people out there with unrealistic expectations about what's going to happen with these live action Star Wars shows. Like all roads lead to Exegol, baby. You better believe it. All roads lead to Exegol. There's no escaping it. It's gonna
even the Acolyte, Cam, probably, dude.
Honestly, yeah, because we're gonna learn about the fucking dark side techniques that he uses to sustain his life after he dies. Like they could fully incorporate the Acolyte on like a Sith alchemy level to explain why Snoke did what he did. Like you never know.
You never know.
I'm telling you, it's gonna happen though. The same way Filoni's bridged the gap between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith with the Clone Wars, and how that really did a lot, like PR wise, for the public opinion of the prequel trilogy. The same thing is being attempted right now with the sequels through these shows. Only people don't even realize it. And ironically, they're celebrating it for doing the opposite. So people just don't get it, I think. But they will. They will when Snoke climbs out of a big old tank.
Dude, I'm like Snoke climbs out of a tank. We need to write
cooking Snoke in a clone capsule as we speak.
Yeah, dude, that needs to be written down. Is September 20th. The Dork Forces, what's it called? Prophecy has been said.
It is. It's the prophecy of the Dork Forces. Is that all roads lead to Exegol, and that all of these shows are going to connect to the sequel trilogy if they run for enough seasons.
And Snoke climbing out of a clone
like
tube.
That is a shot in the dark and kind of a Hail Mary of trying to like connect all of these dots, but it's absolutely possible that we learn about Plagueis's techniques in like a way that is quantifiable and that we can then apply to the context of like Palpatine and Snoke and all of that stuff. Like Who knows what we're gonna learn?
Dude, who knows what we're gonna learn in Tales of the Jedi with Dooku slowly turning into a separatist himself. Like,
oh my god, there's so much fucking Star Wars coming out, best friend. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
We're gonna have to be patient. We're gonna have to be slow. I'm gonna have to start building.
Don't choke on it. Chew it slowly.
I'm gonna have to start building a Jedi Dooku cosplay at some point. It's
absolutely you are.
God, Jedi Dooku for the win. Will we see Jar Jar? I should do a Jedi Dooku.
Bro,
will we get a reintroduction of the Gungans? I don't know.
I hope so. I haven't said anything about this on Twitter. I've been totally quiet because I don't want to like get laughed at, first of all. But also I don't want like my manifesting to backfire. But I would absolutely love to at least hear the name Representative Binks.
Yes.
Don't make fun of me.
Even
if it's Representative Binks.
Like, excuse
me. We're gonna get a
Senator,
Senate sequence. Just pan the fucking camera over him, bro. That's all I'm asking. Just let me see a little whoa as the camera going by.
You have an email, Senator, from Representative Binks here. Dude, that could totally happen with Mothma. Bro, that could totally happen.
They're dangling it. They're dangling it in front of us right now. Like, we're going to the Senate. We know he's there.
Yeah. Dude, that would be amazing. And he's just hanging out in the background of like Mothma, of one of Mothma's offices, just like waiting to talk about a memo.
We know Palpatine cleaned house. Like, we know that he did. And there's a lot of senators no longer in the Senate. Like, a lot of planets lost representation. A lot of planets that had non-human populations lost their representation in the Senate. Like, that was in Legends. And based on the trailer, that one shot of the Senate with all those empty pods, I'm thinking the same thing happened here. So on the one hand, I wouldn't be surprised if they like switch Jar Jar out with a human senator from Naboo. But at the same time, Representative Binks made all this possible. He's the one who voted for emergency powers to be given to the Chancellor.
God, yeah, that's true.
That makes him a goddamn hero of the Empire. like it or not, Jar Jar Binks is one of the founders of the Galactic Empire.
Oh my God, you're right.
And he needs to be recognized for this.
Oh my God.
Grand Admiral Binks. He's like sailing on a Star Destroyer all the way over there. They send him to the farthest reaches of space on a special assignment.
Yeah, dude. He has permanent employee of the month on like a whole squad of Star Destroyers somewhere, and they're all just like
Yes. Jar Jar Binks gets fired. Replaced with a human senator played by Ahmed Best. Absolutely. Well played, sir. Well played. I would love that so much.
Oh, he deserves that. Oh my God, he deserves that. He's still
alive. We know what happens to Jar Jar Binks in canon, thanks to the Aftermath trilogy by Chuck Wendig. There's a whole passage talking about the children of Naboo that play with the sad clown, who is a Gungan, who's kind of like a street performer jester who hangs out by the fountain and just like does funny tricks and acrobatic flips and things and makes the children happy. But you can see that he's very sad, and like sometimes they can hear him crying. That's Jar Jar's canon. That's the end of his story. He becomes just like one of those eccentric old like street performers who like clearly like went through some things, and he's just known to the kids as like the funny clown. But
that breaks my heart.
It's very sad. It's very sobering. But we don't know what time he stops being a senator, so he could still be in Andor. You know,
all of his friends are dead.
All of his friends are dead. Yeah, even little Annie, as far as he knows. Well, by the time of Aftermath, he is absolutely dead. But Jar Jar, I'm sure.
Shit. I just realized something. He could
Jar Jar, I'm sure, thinks he's dead.
No. Dude. I just realized something. We could totally see him at Padme's funeral. He could totally be at Padme's funeral. 100%.
Jar Jar?
100%.
He's at Padme's funeral.
And we get to see Padme's funeral.
Oh, you think they might go back to it?
Don't we see it in a trailer? Don't they show us? Like...
Oh, that was the trailer for the Tales of the Jedi.
Oh, God damn it. You're right.
See? Too much Star Wars.
God damn it.
Star Wars. No, we're going back to Padme's funeral.
We'll see him there. We won't see
Jar Jar. Joining us, man.
We'll see him at the funeral, which is unfortunate. You know.
Ahsoka's going to be at the funeral, which is huge. Like, speaking of Tales of the Jedi for a minute, like
she's in like it looked like she was in disguise too, because this is obviously after she left. The
right, she's in hiding. She was she was hooded, but she might just have been in like funeral dress, you know, like out of respect, like she would cover her leku. Maybe that's cultural. But I don't know. I feel like you'd still be able to spot her, and I feel like they thought that she was dead, right? They thought that Ahsoka was dead. It wasn't until
because her Star Destroyer
Siege of Lothal when he's like, the apprentice lives. That's when he finds out. So they wouldn't have been looking for her. So I guess there wouldn't be a reason to like have clone troopers posted up at the funeral.
Well, remember at the final Clone Wars season where the newly built Vader like visits the crash site of Ahsoka's Star Destroyer, and he pulls out the clone helmet out of the snow.
Yeah.
With the Tano paint, and then finds the lightsaber hilts. So
which to him, he took that as confirmation that she died in the crash. Yeah. Right, which is what I'm saying. So he wouldn't be looking for her. So she wouldn't necessarily need to disguise herself at the funeral. But like,
at the same time, this is Padme's funeral, and like
also Wizard of Oz, you're gonna make me fucking cry over here.
Or what if she at the funeral returned Anakin's necklace? No, Padme already had that. Padme never let go.
We see it in her hand, but we don't know how it like. We don't know that it was carried with her all the way to the funeral, though. Like, did she have it when he choked her out on Mustafar?
Probably.
Yeah, she did. Probably. Yeah, she did. She had it in her hand, didn't she?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she had it during
4:30 a.m. in the UK
too. 4:30 a.m.
Salute you. We're all doing the wait right now. It's Andor Eve. It's like the night before Christmas for everybody.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Type me in the chat if you currently cannot sleep, and that's why you're watching this podcast. Let's get some numbers.
Necklace. It was I guess Bit was in the name of, or no, he said it was a Japorcelain bit or Japorcelain bit.
A Japor snippet. It was a snippet of Japor. Yeah. All right, so yeah, looks like
is that all?
Ain't nobody sleeping up in here. We are waiting for Andor.
Or are you all American? Or are you all Americans?
Bro, there's people from all over the world. This is the world over. Nerds are all doing the same thing right now.
I mean, in the chat. I meant in the chat. Are these all the people saying me?
These people are watching from all over the place. We got all different time zones tuning in right now. I don't have live access to the analytics, but I know that we got people watching from all over the place. We got
Florida,
East Coast, Orlando,
fucking Melbourne,
Canada. Nice. We got Australia,
amazing,
Chicago. Oh, fuck yeah, this is awesome. We got everybody in here. California. We are raging until Andor. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. My plan, I don't even want to necessarily try to take a nap. I don't necessarily want to try to take a nap between
dangerous, man.
The podcast and the start of the show, because then I might be groggy throughout. So I'm planning on just like making a cup of tea and playing KOTOR. Because I'm doing another playthrough of KOTOR as a different.
Oh, you are right. Nice.
I've never done the soldier build, so
okay.
So I built a female soldier and I named her Freya, and then
nice.
So I'm gonna I don't know. I'm gonna try to build her as a juggernaut and sort of see what happens with that.
Tacoma, Washington. Damn, you're only like a town over from me. You should get a beer sometime. We got Denver, we got DC, we got Costa Rica.
Bro,
yeah, man, I haven't played KOTOR since my Twitch playthrough, but I am planning to start KOTOR 2 at some point soon. I really want to get on that. I don't think I'm going to take a nap because I think I'm going to get way too groggy if I have to sleep and then wake back up. I'm someone that takes a while to wake up. So if I like wake up at 11:30, I'm going to be like watching that shit. So I think I'm going to power through it. And I'm going to watch Rogue One on the couch and think of things to think about while I'm watching Andor. Because I want to be primed in the right aesthetic, the right mindset. I want to be like.
I thankfully don't have work tomorrow morning until 10. So like. Nice. I'm not, immediately worried about not having enough energy for work tomorrow. Again, so with Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Jedi and like Bad Batch season 2, of which the release date keeps changing, but we also don't know what days of the week they're on. So
January 4th.
Hopefully, if they give us some fucking Friday shows or some Thursday night shows, then it'll be fine. But then you work weekend nights sometimes, so you might.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of that right now. I'm trying to get out of those weekend shifts. But well, right now we've got Rings of Power on Thursday nights. We got House of the Dragon on Sunday nights. We've got Andor and She-Hulk on Wednesday nights. I think. Oh no, She-Hulk is on Thursdays.
Yeah, but I mean, technically, it comes out Wednesday night.
Comes out Wednesday, like at midnight, and then Rings of Powers at like 9 p.m. on Thursday. Whole lot of TV we gotta watch, man. Christchurch, New Zealand.
Streaming services have been amazing. It's super appreciative, but yeah, no, I mean, all the more Star Wars stuff just means all the more content, which means all the more new potential friends and subscribers and things, and like
that's true.
All the more interaction that we have with you all, and yeah, there's Star Wars Celebration next year, man.
What up, late to the party?
Which still potentially could be in fucking either Idaho or Iowa, one of the I states.
I'm keeping my fingers on the pulse for that. I want to know where it's going to be. I have like a pipe dream of going to London, but it's probably not going to happen. Late to the party.
I'm still trying to put all my eggs in our Disney basket.
Did they move She-Hulk because of Andor so that they weren't on the same day? Were they trying to avoid the whole Kenobi Miss Marvel thing? Is that why She-Hulk is on Thursday? Because we've never had a Disney Plus Thursday show before, right?
When did they move She-Hulk? This is the first I've heard of them doing this.
Well, I thought that She-Hulk was slated for Wednesdays. I thought the premiere was on a Wednesday, wasn't it?
No, it's a Thursday show.
I know it's a Thursday show now. I'm saying, wasn't the first episode out though? Didn't that come out drop on a Wednesday? Or it was announced for Wednesday? For some reason, I had it associated with Wednesday in my head.
I didn't pay that much attention about it. So
we
does
are
that
the golden
mean that Andor?
Absolutely true.
It's true. It's true. Well, it's great because it's like our generation is now starting to become, more of the content creators, I suppose. So it's not even necessarily a fan service sort of a thing. It's more of just like our generation knows what we want to see, and
yes,
as time goes on, like I don't know, stories change and things change. So yeah.
This is important, actually. It is the golden age of dorks. It's a good time to be a dork just because we get a lot of content and shows and like things, media to like, but it's also a safe time to be like a nerd because when I was in high school, if I told people I had a collection of Star Wars helmets, I'd probably get my lunch money stolen and stuffed in a locker. That doesn't happen anymore. It is mainstream and totally accessible and cool to be into Star Wars, fantasy, science fiction,
anime and stuff. Yeah,
young adult paranormal romance, which wasn't even a fucking thing when I was in high school. But like, it's a completely different time to be a nerd, and I think that people shouldn't take that for granted. And people that are my age, instead of being bitter about that, which I have seen some people be, just be happy. Just be happy the next generation doesn't have to go through the sort of like bullying that a lot of us did. Like, yeah, you can complain that Stranger Things, but like whatever, man. It's getting kids into sci-fi, and that's never a bad thing. It means that the genre will survive. Yeah.
It's getting kids into RPGs and shit. It gets kids out of drugs. It's getting the kids off the streets.
Yeah, get out of drugs and into D&D. Either way, you don't need to be in school though.
I saw someone in the chat ask if Tales of the Jedi will all be dropped at once, like Visions was. That would be really cool, actually.
That would be cool.
That would make shit
then we could
a lot easier.
We could just like have a field day and just
if they just gave it to us all in one thing, like they did with Visions, like yeah, they totally could. And I really appreciate now that I think about it, because Visions was the only time that they did that, where they like pulled a Netflix and just
that's the only binge release we've ever gotten from Star Wars. Yeah. And it's dope. It's totally dope. I would really appreciate it if they did that again, just for the sake of like from a meta content creation standpoint. It would allow us to just like attack all the content and then schedule it out. We wouldn't have to like get up at midnight every week. Definitely preferable.
If this series is Filoni's baby also, because like obviously Ahsoka is his baby, and like this is going to be going into Ahsoka backstory.
I don't think any Star Wars show is an island at this point. And I think that everything that gets made, Filoni has some hand in it, Because Filoni at least shows up to set and makes comments on one day. Like there's some sort of cross-pollination there. I think that this is Tony Gilroy's baby, and it's pretty like it's
Tony Gilroy. Okay.
It is kind of insulated in that way, but I think that all of the showrunners of all of these shows,
but it's not like
if not directly communicated, have like studied each other's work, and there is definitely going to be like some sort of an overlap there. Yeah, I don't know if he's like. I don't think he wrote it. No, I don't think he wrote it, but I'm sure he has some sort of like producer involvement.
Because it's Plo. Well, I mean, it kind of has to, right? Because it's Plo Koon. It's Plo Koon and Ahsoka.
I mean, if Plo Koon's showing up, that's a very good. It's like if Jackson shows up. You know that Kevin Scott is somewhere hiding in the bush. You know, like it's just one of those things. This means that, and we all know how much Dave loves Plo Koon. So I'd be willing to bet that his fingerprints are all over that.
Yeah, all over that. Or the training sequence of like mullet Obi-Wan and like angry teenage Anakin going through the training process thing. But dude, speaking of fan service, the fact that we're getting Mace Windu again, and we're getting Mace Windu and young Dooku interacting again, like what the fuck?
Young Snape sounding Dooku too. He's like all young and full of beans. I really dig his dark blue, the dark blue look. It's like the exact same outfit he has as a Sith that has changed the colors a little bit. It's like skin number 2.
I love it. Like
I love it too.
Yeah,
it's
the fact that it's still very much Christopher Lee, and they're still very much like, look, this is Dooku. He's still a count, but we haven't really gone into like what is he the count of? How do you?
I love it. I love it. We don't fucking know. He's the Duke of Sereno, but he's Count Dooku.
Yeah,
he's not Duke Dooku. Because
but if you become a Jedi, you let go of all of your like names and titles too. But like,
well, they call him Count Dooku. It was literally because they were honoring Christopher Lee's amazing legacy as Dracula and all the horror things that he's done. So they're like, we're gonna make you Count Dooku. Like it's totally a
thing
on the nose.
Accepted. Like,
but you know what? The fact that we don't know what the fuck he's a count of kind of makes him even better. Because it's like Dracula, you know. It's like, where did you get this estate and all this money anyway? Like, you never had a job. Like, it's a mystery. We don't know how these things happen. Tyrannus.
I see some of you being Tyrannus. Yeah, we don't even like. It's so
he's the Count of Dooku.
It's so tyrannical. Like, it's so funny. It's just so fucking funny.
Man, Sith Lord names
too. Just
Sith Lord names. I can't do it. Sidious, Tyrannus, Savage, Oppress.
Maul, yeah.
Like Maul.
But at least with Maul and Savage,
when is Darth Meany showing up on the scene, all right?
Like those were the names that they were given on their birth planet, at least. You know, like that wasn't their Sith given name versus like Vader or with Bane. Okay, well with Darth Bane, we don't know if Bane was actually his real name or not.
No, I feel like it's the name he took when he became a Sith, but I feel like he named himself versus being named.
It's interesting, this weird legacy of when Sith started taking on aliases. And I really want to know if Plagueis was the first person to do that, because he obviously couldn't be like Darth Palpatine.
It's possible we're gonna get that answer in the Acolyte. Like, you never know. Like I said, Sith alchemy, bro. That's where it would come up. I can't think of anywhere better.
What was his name?
That's why he's the Count.
Yeah,
this is some Sesame Street bullshit.
Like Darth Plagueis. We don't know if Plagueis was his real name or if that was his Sith given name.
Plagueis, I like because it's not just Darth Plague.
Yes, 100%. Well,
same with Sidious. Is too close to just Darth Tyrant.
Sidious is Sidious. Yeah, but that's what makes it funny. Or Tyrannus just made me think like Tyrannosaurus.
I don't know. It's a space opera. Things are a little. The villains are allowed to be a little mustache twirly because you're not just like the worst guy on the planet. You're the worst guy in the galaxy. So you've got to be like pretty like cartoonishly evil. I get that. That makes sense to me.
Except for like the old, like the ancient Sith Lords, like Exar Kun, Malgus, Ajunta Paul. Like those are like real names, you know.
Tenebrae.
Shout out to Ajunta Paul, by the way. Cry a little bitch.
Exar Kun, man, is probably my favorite of the ancient Sith Lords. Exar Kun, who got the Massassi to worship him.
God, he was so cool. Like, I was most obsessed with Exar Kun in high school.
Freedom Ned. Yep, exactly. Totally. Yeah. You can get Exar Kun's armor in Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh God. You know what else is another obvious one?
But then
Darth Talon. Or Darth Krayt, who gave. Well, no, I guess he took his name because of Krayt dragons. But whatever.
Do not besmirch the good name of Darth Krayt. Darth Krayt is an absolute badass. Marka Ragnos, yes, thank you. Marka Ragnos, he's the best.
Yes. Dude,
because he was the most like straight up D&D evil demon lord of a Sith. The fact that his soul was possessed inside of a sword, and Tavion wanted to get the sword of Marka Ragnos and bring it to the tomb and activate his ghost.
Yeah,
that's just like
that's pretty heavy metal.
Yeah, it's totally heavy metal.
100%, 100% a Dio.
Darth
song.
Bob. I am Darth Bob. Short for Darth Robert. Just completely throw Star Warsness out the window. I'm Darth Brian.
Bane is Dessel. Is that what? Like Dessel was his real name? Is that what you're saying?
These are their birth names.
Interesting.
But Higo Damask.
I'm gonna have to like go back on that one. Speaking of KOTOR too, I mean like Darth Nihilus is obviously very Latin, but like also the fact that he's just like a fucking black hole
is still Jedi Bob.
Is still like just pinnacle Sith Lord. Like he's floating on a fucking abandoned Star Destroyer because he literally ate his entire crew and just
my man ate a planet, dude. Nihilus is just like
amazing.
Legit. I just watched a fan film, Descendants of Order 66, Chapter 2, where there's a dark side force using assassin who is using the mask of Nihilus, but like because it corrupts whatever he wears, he's like microdosing with it, where he's just like wearing it for a little bit to get like a little power up, and then killing some people, and then taking it off before it can take over him. Like it was a cool concept. It was a cool idea. Yeah.
That's like Jim Carrey's The Mask, but
totally like The Mask. Yeah.
More fucking possessed.
Yeah, that was a fun fan film. The reaction for that's up on my channel. I just posted that this week.
Treya, okay, Treya was dope. I don't like
Bartholomew Robert.
I didn't complete KOTOR 2, I will admit, just because the puzzles pissed me off and I had very low attention span at that period of time.
Give in to your anger.
Treya was dope as the blind old woman who like would use lightsabers using the Force, like fucking.
Is that Kreia?
Professor Xavier. Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but I've heard of these people.
What was the name of the Sith Lord from that game who was like the half zombie, half burnt up looking dude? I'm asking.
I have not played it yet.
I'm asking the chat.
Okay.
Who is the third Dark Lord that you had to fight in that game?
Yeah, it sounds like you need to finish this shit on Twitch now, man. Now that you've revealed to the world that you've never finished KOTOR 2, we need Bendu is the KOTOR guy.
Everyone complained and hated my KOTOR 1 playthrough that we created and put out during the first COVID quarantine.
Well, that was my fault. That was my fault because I didn't edit it very well, and I also posted it at times that no one was expecting it. So
Darth Scion, dude, was named after a car. Are you fucking kidding me? But yeah,
it's not named after the car. The car came after, man. The car's named after a Sith Lord,
and they added
kind of cool, actually. Wait, aren't the Scions those stupid square cars?
Yes. No.
Isn't that what they're?
Yes.
Oh man, I remember when those came out. Those were so cool.
God, the fucking hamster.
The dude in my high school had one, and everyone thought it was like so amazing. I was like, cool, you got a box on wheels.
Yeah. Oh god.
Is he Irish?
I don't remember.
I thought he was just like badly burned.
I just thought he was a badly. I just remember him being all crunchy and.
No, I have a lot.
He could have been Irish.
And I will look like that too.
He totally could have been Irish for all I know, but Darth Ford. So yeah, okay, so I guess we'll take a momentary break from Andor stuff, and then so the next segment is going to be House of the Dragons, and then our closing statement is going to be the fucking amazingness that was Andor from Rings of Power.
Oh my god, Rings of Power was amazing.
Oh my god! But
we definitely need to talk about Rings of Power too.
Oh, why do the orcs call you father? Like, dude, I don't know. Fucking tell us. I want to know.
Because they're typo negative fans.
Badass Dark Knight looking motherfucker with your pale skin and your pointy ears, and I want to know everything about you.
Man, I look at him, I just see Peter Steele, honestly.
What do you know of Sauron? Like, oh god damn it. Yeah, no. Rings of Power.
I have a theory on who he is. I'm pretty sure he's Maglor. We will get into that. But first, yeah, let's talk about House of the Dragon. So
House of the Dragon, episode 5, man. Dude,
what's your take? Give me your take on what happened there. On what
I need to know what you two were arguing about with House of the Dragon. Okay, so it all started with a meme. It all started with a meme.
As these things often do.
That looked like this. You might have. Everyone on the internet might have seen a similar version, but it's.
Well, of course I know. He's me.
It's for Kristen's face on Obi-Wan's body, and So
it's
for
Alicent
anyone
being
who
like,
has seen
"Do
it,
you know who had sex with Rhaenyra?"
yeah, it's during the interrogation scene, and Alicent's being like, "I need to know of what Rhaenyra's been up to," and then fucking Sir Galahad Goody Pants had to immediately be like, "Oh, I fucked the princess. It's my bad. I messed up. I know it was me." Like, and Alicent didn't even get like the full sentence out.
Your eyes were like, "Wait, what?" Not what I was asking you.
Not
Okay.
what I was asking. But like at the same time, that also confused the fuck out of me because why was she even more upset? You know?
Because
And why was
Rhaenyra lied to her face.
But she didn't. She didn't. She straight up asked, "Did your uncle fuck you?" And she was
And
like,
she said
"No,"
her uncle never touched her, which is also a lie.
which is also a lie.
Which is also a lie.
But I had nothing to do with Sir Kristen. So he was like, so she didn't lie at all. To which her little hello stepdaughter, like, fuck you, first off. Second, but yeah, so my argument was, who the fuck confesses to a crime before they've even committed it? And then
you know who confesses to a crime? You know who confesses to a crime? An
Tom.
honest knight with honor. That's who confesses to a crime. It's honesty. He wanted to tell the truth because the only thing he cares about is being Kingsguard. And he was put in a position where he might lose everything and he feels like he's lost his honor. And the only thing he wants to do is feel like he has his honor again. And so the best way he can do that is by telling the truth.
So he caved a dude's face in at a dance. That was his answer.
Well, that was him snapping. That was him totally snapping.
I'm so fucking confused about like that whole interaction. I'm so confused.
I'm not saying that what he did was right, but I'm saying that what Joffrey did was fucking stupid. Kid was asking for it. All right. You don't go up to an armed, angry dude and be like, "Hey man, I know your secret that could get you executed." At a fucking wedding in Westeros, he was asking for it, man.
I thought they were cool about it. Poor Fabian. Yeah, dude, I thought they were cool about it because I totally thought they like high-fived their sword hilts, which I thought was totally weird and totally hilarious at the same time.
That was kind of funny.
Bro, the secret sword high five, like of course, 100%. But then
I'm not saying that it's the smart play or the winning play. I'm saying it's the virtuous play. And if you're gonna hate on a guy for telling the truth, like, hey,
dude,
man,
and then he tried to fucking straight up
honesty's honesty.
And then he tried to straight up seppuku himself in the garden, like, oh.
Like, you know what would have been really funny? If Alicent had come over and then he stabs the first night and then she cuts off his head to like complete the seppuku. No, I guess I'll use this opportunity to say that I am picking a side. All right. I'm Team Green on this. I stand with Alicent Hightower and Sir Criston Cole. But fuck Otto Hightower. All right.
Fuck Otto Hightower.
He's the worst. All right. Fuck him. I call him middle finger. He's out of here.
This is true. Fucking Bolin.
Sword swallow it through and through. Yeah, and well, you know.
Dude, that's so fucking hilarious. That's so funny. So that whole conversation.
Joffrey died as he lived with a man's fist inside him.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. Zing. Zing. But like that whole conversation.
Team Green.
Okay, so I haven't picked a side yet, but the fact that anytime Daemon is on screen turns into a complete shit show, I am 100% like loving.
He's the wild card.
It's
total
so
wild
funny.
Card.
It's so funny, like seeing him play a hero in like every other scenario, and like this is his opportunity to just dick around everyone. But like the dance was so weird.
It was like stuffy and really overly choreographed and like very stiff. And I think that was on purpose to show how like this is how like super repressed nobles have fun, you know?
Like Daemon is King Chaos, exactly. Which goes back to episode like 1 or 2 when King Viserys is like, Daemon and Rhaenyra have like the souls of dragons. They're restless and chaotic, and I was like, oh my god, that's Daemon to a T. But he fucking killed his wife. He fucking straight up scared the horse.
I want to be Team Daemon, man. I want to, but like that's unforgivable. She was awesome. She was so clearly like a badass, just like independent, strong-willed woman on her own.
Leader of the ear.
Fucking murdered her, dude. Like that's fucked up. Yeah,
but like Chaos
Damon's
is a
great to
ladder.
watch.
Oh, God.
It's so much fun to watch the King of Chaos just sow the seeds of just ridiculousness in every scene that he's in. But like, I can't get behind him as a person. Like, fuck that, man.
And then the other dude shows up to the dinner, and then the other dudes at the dinner being like,
so cool.
You're like, you have a lot to atone for killing your wife. And then that dude's
After
like,
the
you
chat,
have
the
a lot of nerve making accusations of which I could kill you for, bitch. Also, what about my inheritance?
It's like,
and then he's like, what about my inheritance? And I'm like, bro, what do you want with the Eyrie? What do you want with the Eyrie, Damon?
Also that scene in the Vale when he just like, you know, it's totally the same scene, the same area that they filmed The Princess Bride in.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it was the entrance of the Bloody Gate, and I was like, dude, it was totally the entrance of the Bloody Gate.
It's the scene where Robin Wright and Carrie Elwes go tumbling down the big ass hill right before they get to the fire swamp. And they totally even used the same, like I saw the two shots side by side, and it's even the same little base of the same hill.
That's funny.
It's just like a popular filming spot, I guess. As you wish. I love that movie, dude.
Casually murdered his wife.
Yeah, he's so sad. He's such a smug son of a bitch. And
yes, so sad. Anyway,
Matt Smith is killing it. He's 100%. Absolutely like he's hamming it up in all the right ways. No,
it's only been episode 5, dude. And it's like, and same with Rings of Power. Well, no, so we know for a fact that there's 5 seasons that they're doing. That's a fact. God.
We know that there's Rings of Power has 5 seasons. We don't know how many seasons House of the Dragon has.
Yeah, no. So we don't know how many episodes it is. We don't know how many seasons it's getting. But it's like, we know that at some point Rhaenyra is going to get eaten by fucking Aegon's dragon. And the weird little commercial for like next week on House of the Dragon. The actor kid who's playing Aegon, like, is it the Stranger Things guy or is it just happen to look like the Stranger Things guy?
I have not seen the preview.
Oh, look!
I've not seen the preview yet.
That shit up. Little kid Aemon looks fucking creepy and inbred as all fuck. And King Viserys has lost all of his hair, and he's like
nice.
in a wheelchair.
The king just won't fucking die, man. I'm so surprised that he's still alive.
Yeah, no, you should look that shit up, and we should watch that real quick.
What is it?
Yeah, so Katarn is totally on Team Old Town and Team Sir Kristen.
Team Hightower, sans Otto. Otto can get fucked.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not on a team. Like, I don't know. This show is obviously, it has the same feel of Game of Thrones, but it doesn't feel like it has the same scope of characters or like houses, because we also know like there's certain families that we don't see in Game of Thrones. So like they could all fucking die out, like the Valerian family, or like the the Driftwood King or the Driftwood Throne. Like,
none of those. Corlys's house is getting totally wiped out. The Hightowers are probably going to get totally wiped out. That's why there's no Hightower descendants in Game of Thrones. You know, like I know I'm hitching my wagon to a losing horse potentially, but whatever. Like,
we haven't
I don't
seen
know
the Iron Islands yet, so we have no idea where the Greyjoys are going to kick up. But the Greyjoys have to be up there somewhere.
I just want to see these fucking Targaryens go down. You know.
But yeah, this last episode,
watch the world burn.
So this last episode was the last episode of
the younger
actresses, and then next week is going to be the first time of like 5 years later, or like
winter is coming
10 years later,
very long time from now. Yeah, there's going to be a big time jump, and then probably like several of them. The actor confirmed that he has leprosy. King is suffering from leprosy, but that doesn't mean he's not also being poisoned. I wouldn't count it out, honestly.
I mean, dude keeps cutting himself on the Iron Throne. He's lost 2 fingers.
He must.
His arm seems to be like totally deteriorated, and they're like putting leeches on him or something.
It all started with that one cut and the other one on his back, and it's just spreading. And whenever something spreads like that, it means you're fucked. Especially if it spreads like that and you happen to live in medieval times, you're double fucked. They don't have the technology to slow down that sort of thing. And not to mention, did you notice in the scene when he was being cared for in the bath, the Grand Maester was stopping the other dude from using like an herbal poultice? What, like the other guy next to the Grand Maester kept like trying to use like, I've got the solution of herbs and things that'll really help.
I just assumed it was milk of the poppy because it looked white.
Well, no, that's what the Grand Maester ended up giving him. But what the other guy wanted to give him was a poultice that he'd made of all of these like herbs and special things. And the Grand Maester was like, "We don't need that crap."
Out of line.
Yeah, he was like, "We don't need that crap." It was so that's totally like they're not giving him the best medical attention that's even available because they're being closed-minded about it. He's fully being. What would be hilarious is if it turns out that he's being poisoned by like 6 different groups at once. And they all think that they're the only one doing it, but he's getting like poisoned by his wife, poisoned by Otto, poisoned by his daughter, poisoned by Daemon,
poisoned by the creepy dude who's like super frail and has the bent leg and is obviously the worm tail of the story.
Whatever. He looks more like he wishes he was the worm tongue. He's more like the fucking unibrow guy that hangs out with Stephen Fry in The Hobbit. Yeah. Alfred. Isn't it Alfred?
Yes. The dude who cross-dressed to try to survive. Yeah.
That's who he reminds me of, is Alfred, who is the greatest Tolkien character ever devised, by the way. Don't at me. I'm not taking questions at this time.
You heard it here.
Fuck that throne. Are you talking the Iron Throne? The Driftwood Throne?
Yeah.
Because the Iron Throne will get fucked by Drogon. You just have to be patient.
It's true.
It's going to wait a very long time. It will happen, though. We've seen it.
God. Fucking Driftwood Throne, man. Fucking Daemon, bro. Fucking Daemon. But also, I found it
Daemon has a scar? I have not noticed that he has like a little thingy right there. Possibly early onset grayscale from the crab feeder. That would be fucked. I kept thinking the king was going to get grayscale from one of those swords somehow. Like one of the swords of the throne is from old Valyria and was present for the Doom and is like infected with whatever, like spores. But I don't think that it works that way, first of all. And also, we know that he has leprosy, so.
But dude, there's going to be so many more dragon eggs. Aegon looks like a fucking weirdo. But yeah, we know at some point Rhaenyra is going to get eaten. So we don't know if they'll show that or not.
Well, I didn't know that. You totally just spoiled that for me. I had no idea.
Joffrey tells Marjorie when he's like giving her a tour of the.
Are we sure it's the same Rhaenyra? Are we sure it's the same Rhaenyra? I thought you had heard that online. You're just basing this off a line of dialogue from Game of Thrones. Okay, yeah. Well, if it's the same Rhaenyra, then that's fair. Then Game of Thrones told us it was going to happen. That's fair.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't know that, and I'm not sure it's the same Rhaenyra because there's fucking a million Aegons.
That's
by the time of Game of Thrones.
There is like 7 Aegons and 4.
And there's also a Rhaenys and Rhaenyra. Like there's probably a Rhae something else and a Rihanna coming. You know, like Rihanna Targaryen.
R.I.P. Speaking of like R.I.P. to Maester Aemon. That dude was a champ.
Yeah, probably the nicest, most relatable Targaryen so far.
Second to Jon Snow.
He's not that relatable. He's too handsome.
That's fair.
He got down with Daenerys too. That's not very relatable.
Dude, I felt bad. I felt bad for the oldest. I don't remember his name, but the son, the Valyrian son who's now going to marry Rhaenyra, like just seeing his boyfriends just skull bashed on the floor, and it's like, oh, by the way, it's not even 24 hours later. Blood still on the floor. We need to.
I know. Yeah, they hadn't even cleaned off the tables. Like they just rushed it. It was
rough, man. But again,
it was a great juxtaposition, though. Like all of the happiness, then the extreme violence, and then the aftermath. Boom, 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 in the same space right after each other. Really to drive home the point of like they set it up as one thing and then just crush it. And that's so Game of Thrones. That felt very Game of Thrones.
It was like
Drogon flew east to Volantis.
Yes.
We know this because that's what they said they saw. That's the direction they saw him flying in the last episode. Who was in Volantis?
A passing ship saw him flying that way.
And who is known to be in Volantis?
The Red Priestess.
The Red Priestesses. And what are the Red Priestesses known to do?
Fucking resurrect bitches.
Resurrections. So have we seen the last of Daenerys Targaryen? I don't fucking know. But I know there's a Jon Snow show coming up, and I know that he was a big part of her story. So maybe we'll get an answer to that someday. Maybe we'll actually find out exactly what happened with Drogon.
Unless the whole Jon Snow story turns into like Adventures Beyond the Wall, so it'll either become a Bear Grylls thing, or it'll become like him fighting zombie polar bears. And like,
I'm so down for that. So down for that. Speaking finally of Rings of Power, let's just for the last little bit of this here. dive into that final episode we got. So let me just. There we go.
But yeah, so in conclusion, House of the Dragon is legit. It's about to really pop off. Daemon is chaotic, wonderful, and
he really is fun to watch. You don't know what the hell he's going to do next.
Says that Rhaenyra is a brat and Alicent deserves a win. You've heard it here.
Agreed. That's what I was saying. Yeah, Rhaenyra is totally a brat, and Alicent fully deserves a win. Her life sucks.
Her life does suck.
Her life definitely sucks,
bro. Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
When she's not getting just like traumatized left and right, she's getting plowed by Viserys. Like, there's no good. There's no silver lining there.
Her life usually isn't on that Sansa level of suck, but it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest.
Apparently, those sex scenes were not nearly as challenging to film as you might think because they had an intimacy coordinator on set.
Interesting.
Combined with the fact that a lot of those sex scenes were directed by a woman as well, which kind of gave it a different.
Well, it was all over the
approach.
It was a lot, yeah.
There was a lot more focus on like hands and faces and mouths, and not so much on like making sure we see as much titty as possible. And like,
well, I think they're both underage too. I think both actresses are underage because they made sure not to do that with the Rhaenyra.
Well, sure, but regardless, it's Game of Thrones, and if they wanted, they could get a body double and just like make it happen. But like,
oh, that's true. Good point.
There's definitely a difference between like sex scenes that are filmed and directed by a man. It looks a little bit closer to porn.
That's true.
And then sex scenes directed by a woman, generally, it's more following like the storyline of the feelings.
That's
and
true.
Like the emotions of both people, rather than like I want to see the hardcore. You know,
was the Rhaenyra one directed by a woman also, or was it just the Viserys?
All of episode 4, the brothel scene, the scene with Kristen, and the scene with Viserys.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's if anything, that's like the biggest improvement I think that House of the Dragon has over Game of Thrones is the way that they're approaching things like that. You know, especially when you've got such a fucking ridiculous situation with such an age difference. These two actors, like, come on, George R. R. Martin. What are you writing about?
I found it hilarious how right before her death, Daemon's now ex-wife made a dick joke. How she was I knew you could never finish. Boom, dead.
Someone in the chat was speculating that his wife was a lesbian. I don't think so.
No,
she was giving him such a hard time about not like consummating their marriage, like
because his dick doesn't work.
Well, his dick don't work with anyone but a Targaryen or a dragon. That's totally what it is. Because he couldn't even get it up with Rhaenyra. Some say it's because he knew he was wrong. I think it's because she doesn't have wings and scales.
Just fair.
He's just like he's, you know, like that's the thing. Like the son of the billionaire, you know, like he goes around like nothing can get him off anymore because he's done everything. You know, he's desensitized his own body. This is the prince of a decadent king. He's fully done that same thing. He's like, I can only get it off if I'm fucking a dragon these days. Like, there's nothing else works for me, man. I've sailed around the world.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a wonderful. He's
fully desensitized his own body just through like constant debauchery and just like, you know, getting it on with anything that he wants to.
What does the dragon smell like? I don't know. I really wish I knew what a dragon smells like. The closest that we could come to an actual dragon, it would be a Komodo. Or if we like, I don't know.
Monitor lizards look a lot like dragons if you just added wings, honestly.
Yeah. Or if we like took an alligator out of the water and like smelt an alligator. I don't know.
I think the same way horses smell like hair because they've just got so much hair, you know. I think dragons smell like scales, you know.
Like,
you know what scales smell like?
Big snakes supposedly don't have a smell. Like owners,
if you're around big snakes enough to not to know what they smell like, you've lost your fucking sense of smell. All right,
that's fair. Good point.
Because if you have big snakes in your house, you probably have it like other like stinky ass animals in your house, and you can't smell nothing. So I don't know if I trust that. I think they do have a smell.
That's fair. Or they probably smell like death, or they probably smell like perpetual campfire.
Oh yeah, drive around on this mesquite blasting White Walkers. You're like, oh man, the smell is just like. I just called the dragon mesquite. I mean, if it smells like barbecue, that's what I'm gonna name my dragon.
Fucking charcoal.
Let's be real.
But speaking of dragons and speaking of amazing, oh god, just amazing, just overall special effects and power. Rings of Power.
Dude.
Oh my god, dude. Oh, I just saw a poll question that I think was on either Twitter or Instagram of like someone asking, how do you feel about the way that the orcs look? The fucking albino, sharp teeth, like mole hand, like I love them. I love them. The fact that they have horse skulls as their helmets, the fact that they all have bone armor because they haven't got to the blacksmithing part of their development, like
right,
they're so cool.
They're still like the orcs are in the Stone Age.
The
like
fact
legit.
that they're perpetually like allergic to sunlight, it seems like. Mwah.
Yeah, no, the sunlight is perfect. So cool. The way that they're all super pale and pallid because of that too, like they just can't expose themselves to it, is fucking cool. Also the fact that a bunch of the actors are orcs from the Peter Jackson trilogy.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Like the guy who's like, you've earned a water ration. That's Jed Brophy, who was totally like, what about their legs? They don't need those. It's the same fucking dude. Like this man knows how to be an orc. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, there were several orc actors that were like veterans, Lord of the Rings veterans, because they filmed in New Zealand. And if you're going to use like 95% of the country's film industry, which they did with Peter Jackson's movie,
well, it's just pulling,
and then they did again with these, you're guaranteed anyone that's still working from that time is going to be in this new one too. Like,
well, it's like awesome. How The Walking Dead reuse their zombie actors. They just slap on, because like if you have people who are good at doing that thing, like you want to keep them doing that thing. But oh god, everything about it. If we're gonna keep going about the orcs for a moment and the forest,
please, I could watch an hour-long episode of just the orcs in slow motion.
I mean, not Eleanor, but
Arondir.
I love that. Like he didn't have magic Legolas arrows that refilled.
Yeah. He ran out.
He was empty. He was fucking empty, and he was like, "All right, sidearm." Fucking, we're just gonna sword.
What about the shot? What about the shot where he caught the fucking arrow and then just like slung it back the way it came? Oh,
fucking
Arondir is such a fucking badass, man.
Pinnacle elf. Same with Elrond using his elf eyes to spy on Durin and his wife.
Bendu has seen it because he sent it. You sent it to me, right? You sent this trailer to me.
What?
Hellraiser.
Guys watch. Yes.
I haven't seen it yet, so we'll end the podcast with a trailer reaction to Hellraiser. We'll do that after we finish talking about Rings of Power.
At first, when I first saw the name, just like on side note to that, I thought it was going to be a trailer for a Constantine sequel. So I was really disappointed.
Oh yeah, that's right, because Constantine also has Hellraiser.
There's rumors circulating that Keanu Reeves is in the works.
I heard that. Have you seen Sandman?
I don't have Netflix.
Oh well. Sandman features Joanna Constantine, which is
is that supposed to be a daughter or a sister of Constantine, of like Hellraiser? Well, I guess that is. Does it take place? Does Sandman in the DC universe?
I don't think so. But I think it is the same character.
Weird.
Did Neil Gaiman write Constantine? Did Neil Gaiman write Constantine?
No, that's why I was curious, because
I'm not sure what the connection is there, but Joanna Constantine legit is the character of John Constantine. Like it might be like the daughter, or it might be they just gender swapped the character itself. Because Joanna, but either way, like
ties between Sandman and Constantine is Tilda Swinton playing an angel.
Oh god, she was so fucking good. She was
Gabriel. She was Gabriel.
That's right. She was Gabriel. She was
amazing.
She was really good in that.
But yes, but Rings of Power. Elrond was Andor. Why did the orcs call you father? Like, tell me. Like I want to know everything about this dude. His black armor is amazing. His white.
Here's my theory. So Maglor was an elf in Beleriand who betrayed Arundel, as I understand it, who is Elrond's father, and stood with Sauron. He was an elf that stood with Morgoth, basically. He ended up getting burned. He fell into a fiery pit, and he also burned his hand when he tried to grab one of the Silmarils. That'll be a whole nother discussion. What are the Silmarils? That's just some reading for you to do. That's what the Silmarillion is all about.
Gotcha.
But I think that there's a couple of different clues.
That's why he had a
that's who
huge
he's
ass
gonna be.
gauntlet on his left arm.
Which was fucking badass, by the way. All the spikes coming out of like the knuckles.
His whole look, his whole aesthetic was so fucking.
Turns out we'd already seen him. He is the spiky gauntlet arm in that one poster that everyone kind of assumed was going to be Sauron.
Mm-hmm.
Let me quickly grab this Hellraiser trailer. I have not actually seen the original Hellraiser.
The original ones were, I mean, the first and the second one were cool. I didn't follow all of them because there were other horror movie franchises to follow at the time. Miss Sunflower, yes. Keanu Reeves is Revan. I've seen that fan cast. That would be hilarious and amazing. But yeah, Hellraiser wise, I mean, the whole aesthetic of the Xenobites. I think they're called Xenobites. Yeah, no, I really appreciate how it's a very Lovecraftian, dystopian sort of thing, and just the whole puzzle box as a concept is very Holocron, which is amazing. But
yeah, no, I definitely like dig it style wise, aesthetically. I've just never have seen it.
Yeah,
I thought about reacting to it for Halloween. So I want to just react to a bunch of different.
7th. But anyways, yes, so Rings of Power though and Andor. So there was the elf. So he fell into the fire, burned his hands, and then what happened to him?
Let me, because I am not totally clear on this guy as a character. So Maglor, let me look it up here. He was the second son of Fëanor and Nerdinel. So Fëanor is Galadriel's father, right? Well, Fëanor was the king of the Noldor. I'm pretty sure he's Galadriel's dad, which would make Maglor Galadriel's like brother or half brother at least.
Older half brother.
Well, the thing is, he was said to be pretty nonviolent and kind of a gentle elf. But he threw his lot in with Morgoth, unfortunately. Eventually, after the War of Wrath, he cast his Silmaril into the sea. And afterwards, he wandered along the shores of the world, singing laments over the loss of the Silmaril until he faded from memory. Although the circumstances and date of his death, if ever happened at all, are unknown. So this could totally be him after all that has gone down, because he talked about walking up and down the rivers.
Yes. And
like how like the big fields of flowers and things, and saying that like the elves have been lied to all their lives.
Yeah.
Because he's
weird.
Because he's fully like, ate the apple. He's totally bought in to what Morgoth and in turn Sauron have been like feeding him.
Oh, interesting.
And also because he's cast out from elven society, they don't want him anymore. He stood with Morgoth, and so it's a lot easier to believe that this whole society of people are wrong and they've been tricked, rather than to think every other elf hates me and it's my fault. Like he can't mentally grapple with that. So instead, obviously, they've been like deceived, when in fact he himself is working with Sauron, the deceiver.
Yeah. And with the father name, I want to know if he's involved with the creation or the helping of the creation of the Uruk-hai, since they're supposed to be, the manipulated elf corpses with dark magic that now turn into these orcs, these giant orc warriors.
Right, because evil can't create its own things. It can only corrupt that which is already made. Yeah. I'm not sure if that applies to goblins, though.
Well, no, I think the goblins and the orcs are like their own species, but I mean like the development, the further evolution of the orc as a species, I think could be a Doris thing. Same with the wargs. Same with the ward wolves.
Yeah, yeah. There's a reason it looked like a chihuahua. There's a reason it was a puppy. It was because not only was it a younger specimen, but also they haven't quite perfected that process of breeding them in the first place. Like when they're searching around in the creepy ass one of the shadow citadels, and they see the orc who's like half in the wall. Mm-hmm. That's totally them trying to figure out that birthing process for the Uruk-hai. Something went wrong, and he just like fucking froze halfway through that shit.
Yes. Also, I 100% agree with your prior theory, or a theory that you agreed with earlier, that the watchtower or the lighthouse that all the humans are like hanging out in right now is totally the torture tower. That is totally the torture tower that they take photo.
I just spent a lot of time just staring at those two images, and you can totally see like there's There's the bit, like the penis is there, and then they've built these big stone like spikes that like reinforce it, but you can see the original like penis roof under the spikes.
And the valley, like it was a river and a creek, but
and now it's way deep.
The valley now is all totally just like dark stones and just
and it looks like a way deeper canyon because of the water being gone. Totally.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's the Sea of Nirnen. We can see this big lake behind it in Rings of Power, but I don't think that's the Sea of Nirnen. I think that's literally just like a lake too small to be on a map, and it's all going to get drained, or it's going to evaporate just from the heat because it's going to get real hot.
Hard. But yeah, it's interesting. The butcher, or like I don't know if he's the mayor technically, but the old dude who's like talking to
Waldron. Yeah, he's like the bartender.
What do you know of Sauron? You know, like
right?
That dude, like all those humans, half of those humans at least, are totally gonna like turn evil, and they're totally gonna get killed by the end of this season.
I mean, I hope it's like a Hot Fuzz situation where it turns out there's an entire like cult behind the scenes, and they're all like secretly worshiping Sauron, and Arondir and Theo and Bronwyn are gonna have to like just kill their whole town of survivors
with this weird shadow blade that like reacts to blood magic, dude. Like,
yes, that's huge. In the Southlands, at the village, you can see a green mountain in the distance. It's totally Mount Doom.
It's
Oro de Ruin.
So
Amon Amarth. It's fucking the Mountain of Ruin, dude. Oh, I can't wait. The fact that it's all green and like flourishing with life and all the stuff just means we're gonna get to see that transformation go down. We're gonna see like the massive pits in the earth open up and just like, oh, it's gonna be amazing.
The full conceivement of Mordor.
Mordor. I also love how many people are rolling their R's. Numenor. Mordor.
Isildur.
Mordor.
Speaking of which, so yeah, why was he hearing voices pulling him to Middle Earth also, which is interesting.
Talking about Isildur?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. And that's like my one criticism that I have is that Isildur in Lord of the Rings is a selfish asshole who refuses to destroy the ring, right?
Because he gets corrupted and he puts it on.
Exactly. Because he gets corrupted. So it would make sense to have a bunch of scenes of him not being a selfish asshole before he gets to the ring, so that we know Isildur as this like virtuous, selfless, willing to do the hard thing guy.
Oh yes, thank you, Droid Herder. Yeah, what's in the west? That's the Elven land, right? Where
the west is Valinor. Yeah. Numenor is to the east.
Yeah. So why would the west be calling Isildur?
I don't know. The only point I was trying to make is that they've made Isildur make a series of selfish choices.
Oh, true. Yes.
Like getting all of his friends kicked out of the sailing thing just because he didn't want to do it. Like it seems like that's a personality trait in him, and I really wish that they had done the opposite and just like built him up to be this totally selfless, like giving, generous, like virtuous guy, so that it was a bigger difference when the ring corrupts him. Because right now it's like selfish guy chooses to be selfish with ring. Like there's no story there. But if it's
they haven't yet.
Isildur, the most valiant Numenorian ever, decides to do a selfish thing because the ring's just that corrupt, that's more compelling, you know?
Well, what's super weird and interesting too that they'll have to make a point of within the next few seasons, I suppose, before season 5, is the Numenorians having, you know, the expanded lifelong. Because like the regular rings haven't even been created.
No,
like,
yeah, we got a long time to go.
You know, exactly. So it's like
Isildur is still like a teenager. He's 237 when he cuts the ring from Sauron's hand.
237. Okay,
got a long way to go. And also, we've never seen a Numenorian next to anyone other than Galadriel, so it's hard to really tell. But they're over 7 feet tall. Elendil is 7'11".
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're fucking giants. They're absolute giants. And sometimes you can't quite tell because the scale, I think, isn't always effective. Sometimes Halbrand and Elendil look like they're the same height. Galadriel is supposed to be as tall as most tall humans, but shorter than Numenorians. She should tower over a halfling, but she should be like about a head and a half shorter than a Numenorian. And they've got that so far. But then she stands next to Halbrand, and they're like the same height. I guess Halbrand's just a tall human.
You could. Or you talking
it won't be a problem until we get to the Southlands, and then because then we'll have to have Numenorians next to humans and then Galadriel, and then Harfoots. So we'll see once we get like different sized people on the screen together.
Harfoots would be down here. Also,
so far all the different sized people have been like in groups, and we haven't seen them next to each other, so we don't really know the difference yet. But Elendil's fucking 7'11", dude. He's massive.
Damn. Yeah. So how tall is the prime minister lady supposed to be then, I wonder? Well, I guess they're all just super tall people.
Yeah, they're just a tall race. Like average is probably like 6'10", 6'11", like something like that.
But yeah, dude, at some point they're gonna get the Atlantis treatment, and that's gonna be fucky. Or I assume, because like Numenor, we never hear about Numenor in the regular Lord of the Rings stories afterwards. So I'm assuming they all get wiped out somehow.
Numenor is like an ancient dead society by the time of the Third Age. But that's 6,000 years. Well, no, it's about 3,500 years from now. The Third Age begins. Mm-hmm. But Lord of the Rings is at the very end of the Third Age, which is like another 3,000 years. So by the time of Aragorn's life, that's 6,000 years away.
Damn.
So that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time for Numenor to do its thing. And yes, Numenor is going to get punished by the Valar for trying to seek eternal life in Valinor. They're like, they're going to try and sail west through the big old glowy force field. And then the Valar are going to be like, you may not do that. And then like splash. And then Numenor just gets fucked up.
Oh, so that's how
my theory. That's my theory.
They get, oh, I gotcha. I was going to say, I could totally see them feel like they're too big. I could totally see them feel like they're too big for their britches and like try to go to the Undying Lands. And
totally.
And
they got blessed with these things. The Valar blessed them with these rewards, but it was before any of their lifetimes. So they're all taking it for granted, not realizing that what they have is in fact a gift, and that gifts can be revoked, especially when they're given by gods.
Yep.
And so they're like, fuck it. No, we're entitled to this stuff. Like, we live for a long time. We've got this beautiful island and all this technology. We want eternal life too. So we're going to sail our 7 feet ass through the big old glowing curtain, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. They're going to get stopped by the Valar's bouncer. And he's going to be like, you're not on the list. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, by the way, we're going to drown your whole fucking...
Yeah, by the way, civilization over. You're very rude.
You're very rude.
That's give me the Valar. They'd be like, your civilization has ended because you're very rude. Get out of here. Splash.
That's amazing.
Amazon has limited rights. Going to copy and paste the article, but do you think this will hinder the story?
Yes.
Don't bother copy pasting the articles because I'm pretty sure AutoMod will not allow that. But I don't think it's going to hinder the story. I think it might hinder their ability to deliver things that we recognize. But that doesn't necessarily mean the story won't be able to stand on its own 2 legs as long as they have good characters that are telling a story we care about. Like we know eventually, we know eventually what's going to happen, and if they don't have the rights to tell us, they can show us without saying it, and they can heavily imply it. And I guess the responsibility is on them to make it recognizable enough without saying what these things are. And I think that's absolutely possible. And also, it's just going to be nice to be surprised, like not working from established material means more surprises and twists for us. And I'm here for the oh my goodness, for like the shocking viewer experience. Like that's pretty cool.
So going from Orcs to Numenor now to fuck, I had it and then I lost it. What else did we really get to see in the episode? That's a good theory.
We got slow motion orcs running in the woods to like the best fucking choir music. I loved that sequence so much. We got tidal wave of Numenor.
Yeah.
We got the pondering orb, dude. We got the goddamn the Palantir.
The fucking all the seeing stones that aren't accounted for. Like, oh god, dude.
It looks so goddamn good too.
It's gonna be interesting.
Saruman's was really black, and this one was very blue.
Yeah. So I want to know if it gets corrupted over time. Is it the same orb? Is it a different orb? Like, I need to know. I need to know these legends, god damn it. But yeah.
The king's name is Tar Palantir, and apparently that's not because he like created the Palantirs or anything. It's because he's considered like the far seeing. And it's just a language connection. Palantir means to see far, which is why the seeing stones are called Palantirs. So that's I was confused by that originally, and then someone
I remember. So going from the orcs to Numenor, now we're going to the dwarves. One, getting to see the very startings and the birthings of Mithril.
Oh yeah, that was pretty dope. That was pretty dope.
2, I love how super fucking Scottish all the dwarves are. Like, it's just now, this is headcanon that dwarves are Scottish. It's what it is.
Khazad-dûm is like a mile from Edinburgh. Yeah, no, it's canon.
God, I love Khazad-dûm so much.
It really is cool getting to see it like teeming with life and full of greenery and things like that, seeing it in its prime.
Durin's wife, absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. Getting to hear her pleading song to the stones.
Yes, that was really cool. To like release the trapped miners. That was very moving. Actually,
all survives, of whom Durin was able to pull out of the fucking collapsed tunnel himself. Like, that was amazing. I saw someone in the chat trying to say that they saw liquid rock. It wasn't liquid rock. It was the vibrations moving around smaller stones. It was supposed to show the shifting of stones. I don't think it was melted. I don't think.
No. I think you're right. I think you're right.
From the Balrog. Balrog's gonna come later. So we don't get to see the Balrog or any of that stuff until after Gimli is born. Until after Hobbit stuff.
Are you sure? Are you sure? I'm pretty sure we're gonna see the Balrog. The Balrog was in the trailer.
I remember in like the previous fight when it was taking down an eagle, but like, because Gimli didn't know that all those Hobbit elves were dead until they went back to Khazad-dûm.
Well, right, because there'd been no contact from Khazad-dûm for a really long time.
Yeah, so define a really long time.
It drops tonight, midnight for us Pacific time. I think it's 3 a.m. for Eastern time. Yes, tonight, not tomorrow. But yeah, no, they showed the Balrog in the trailer, so we know there's going to be some sort of. So we know they're going to wake it up. But the question is, then do they fight it? It goes back dormant again, and then it comes back again later.
Or the goblins wake it up a second time, I suppose. But yeah, because we don't really get to see or hear about the Balrog or the goblins taking over Khazad-dûm until after. Because that tomb, who's inside the tomb? The one who's inside the tomb was Thorin's friends, the dwarf who had the really white beard, and then the one who was writing the book. And the one who was writing in the book was the youngest of the dwarf, the really like squeaky voice one who's like, I'm not afraid of no orcs. Like, he was the one who was writing in the book.
It was either Orin or Glowing who was writing in the book, I thought.
Yeah. So like they, it obviously has to take place after The Hobbit. So it'll be interesting again to see what happens to Khazad-dûm.
Totally. Yeah, I'm not sure how it's all going to go down, but I know that there's going to be Balrog action. It's going to happen. Cool. Well, we're just about out of time for the podcast. We got a couple things we got to do before we set up for Andor. Reactions are going to drop pretty much instantly on Patreon. You'll be able to check out our full-length uncut version, patreon.com/KyoTor channel. And then if all goes according to plan, the highlight reactions should be up on YouTube starting tomorrow. Shout out to Nerd Chronic for doing the fastest, best work in the West. Man's going to be busy tonight. 3 episodes,
we haven't quite figured out if we're going to try to tackle all 3 episodes. But at least
they are shorter than an hour, and it's not going to be like 3 hours. I think
if they're shorter than an hour, then we'll tackle all 3 of them.
I've been told that they're closer to 30 minutes than an hour, so probably like 40 something each. Okay. Yeah. But yes, don't go yet. We are about to.
I see you, girl. Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh yeah, happy birthday! Thank you for reminding me.
But yes, it's gonna be fabulous. Oh God, Rings of Power though. Like, I'm excited to see how everything gets pulled together. Like, Sauron doesn't even exist yet, and he's supposed to be the one who gets resurrected.
Oh, he's out there. Don't let Galadriel catch you saying that shit. She's gonna beat your ass.
Well, I mean, the orcs
saying Sauron doesn't exist yet. She's trying to tell everyone that he's out there. No one will listen.
I know, but at some point he has to come out and try to give everybody a friendship cake and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was so evil before. Here, let me give you these friendship."
No, he legit will, but he's not going to show up as Sauron. He's going to show up as like the hottest fucking dude you've ever seen with like the best cupcakes you've ever seen. He's like, "Here, have this. It's going to solve all your problems in your life." Oh, he's going to show up as the Lord of Gifts. He's going to be No. He's Sauron the Deceiver. He takes many forms. He's going to show up as something very attractive. As an ally, he's going to sidle up and smile and act like he's here to help everything and offer these rings of power. Celebrimbor is going to be he's such an idealist. He's going to be swept up with this idea of these rings that'll change the world. And he's just going to build them. And Sauron's going to be like, he's going to make his own ring. Like, but no, he's not going to just show up and ask for like forgiveness. He's going to totally trick them and be like, I'm not Sauron. Sauron who? I'm just some nice guy with a bunch of gifts.
That's true. But like because the only 2 elven rings I remember, like Galadriel has hers.
Many names.
And then we see Gandalf after he turns into Gandalf the White, he's given the fire ring.
And Celeborn has the
Elrond
other
have
of the
one?
3. The 3 elven rings of power, the other one Celeborn has.
Who's Celeborn?
Where is Gandalf?
Oh, Galadriel's husband has the other
Yeah.
ring? Oh,
Tell me,
shit.
where is Gandalf? For I must desire to speak with him. First of all, I love that you got that just from me saying, where's Gandalf in a stupid voice. You knew who I meant.
It's like, oh, the husband.
That's proper recognition of dialogue. Okay, so Hellraiser trailer. You ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
Let's do this thing. We're
We're
going to
excited
end
for
the
the House of
podcast with
Dragon
this.
trailer.
This is a brand new trailer for a new version of Hellraiser. I know nothing about Hellraiser. I haven't seen the original, but I'm planning to react to that too. Let's take a look.
Same with Hocus Pocus 2.
Hocus Pocus.
What's your
Wow.
Oh shit! Sorry, I tried to click the volume. There we go. I feel like I haven't seen a Spyglass logo in a long time.
Isn't it? It's really nice. You can hold it.
Yeah.
That's the puzzle box.
What is it? It's a puzzle. And it's almost finished.
It's a pretty sick
Keep going.
prop, actually.
So if I solve it, do I get a prize?
I do.
Oh shit! That's some haunted fucking shit right there. That's demonic.
Oh, Clive Barker. You amazing,
It
amazing.
has 6 sides, 6 configurations. It opens up and it cuts you. And then they come to collect.
It like takes some of your blood. Oh,
They're pain demons.
It's time. Greater delights await.
what am I
We
looking
wish to
at?
See you proceed. Feed it. Their blood, their pain. All for us.
Is that a female Hellraiser?
You pray for.
Let's
The original was a man, right? Or are there like a bunch of these pinhead?
They're called fuck, what are they called? Celobites or xenomorph? No, xenomorph were the aliens. They have
Okay,
a name.
but there's a
They're-
group of them.
Yes, but they're not
See,
called.
I had never seen. I always thought that it was just one dude, and he was the Hellraiser, and he went around like fucking shit up. I didn't realize that it was like about like a
Demented
haunted
tea.
puzzle box thing at all. Yeah, I need to watch the
no,
original, man. I really need to watch the original.
So it's essentially a fucked up holocron that opens up yourself. Cenobites, thank you. I know I
Cenobites,
said it earlier,
okay.
but then I totally forgot it. So the puzzle box opens you up to this hell dimension. Did you ever see the movie Sphere? Or no, not Sphere. Event
I did see
Horizon?
the Sphere with Samuel L. Jackson. I saw that
Yeah,
one.
but did you see Event Horizon with the Jurassic Park dude? And it was the spaceship that like
Yes, I did. Yes,
had
I
an
did.
engine that made
was dope,
black
yep.
holes. And then the ship went through a black hole, and then the ship ended up, which was a hell dimension, and it became possessed.
I do remember
Same
that.
concept. So this
Okay.
puzzle box
Okay.
opens you up to this alternate reality, which is ruled by pain
Demons.
pain demons.
Makes me think of Tig Tone and the Pain King.
Yeah.
And to like break his hand against the concrete thing. That was awesome. Cool. Well, I'm definitely intrigued. Like it definitely feels like it was full of references to other things in the franchise. There's what, like 3 Hellraisers?
Well, there's a bunch of different demons that look different ways, and then they all represent the way that they were killed, or the way that like what their pleasure sin sort of thing was. Like they all look different. They all look different if you Google them.
Interesting. Yeah, I would definitely want to look it up. I want to do a reaction to it. Yeah, that would be hilarious if in the middle of the new one we
Is
just
that
see
other
Madison
dimension?
go flying through a portal in the background from She-Hulk. Like
Where
this
she
is the
meets
dimension
the
that
demon
magician
named
was
Death.
sending people through the portals for.
God. Dude, fuck that guy. A perfect example of why you shouldn't open interdimensional portals without having proper training. Without proper training. Fucking
Right.
Donald Blaze.
I'm very impressed that he was even able to do that, to be very honest.
Well, he was
Did
at
we
Commerce
learn where he got the sling ring? Did we find that out?
Yeah, he used to be a student and then he got kicked out.
That's right. That's right. And he stole it. That's right.
Or some shit like that. Wong said. He was someone who was there and then he either like got kicked out for one reason or another. But
I think we all know what he was doing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He was there for the magic and the leather pants. He wasn't there to
He was totally that
honor the Vishanti.
That mind freak. But yeah. And I'm super stoked for fucking Matt Murdock to show up next week in She-Hulk. They teased his costume. They teased his costume with the Edna Mold.
That's right. It was in the box. It was in the box at the end.
Yeah.
The second suit that the tailor made for her is totally her like comics superhero costume.
I'm thinking so. And she's
not going to wear it till like the finale. But like they wanted to explain away why she's going to like bust out the door wearing it for the big action scene in the last episode. It was like, how did she get the suit? Oh, well, the tailor made it for her. They needed to like plant that seed. Exactly. Awesome, cool. Well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. That's all we got for the Dork Forces podcast tonight. It is 9:45. We've got 2 hours to go. 2 hours 15 minutes. We're going to be sitting here watching Andor. So I want to say farewell to you all one last time in this pre-Andor world that we're about to not live in it anymore.
This pre-Rogue One, dude. Oh.
Dude, the discourse will be different when we wake up in the morning, and half of me is very excited to celebrate this new content, and the other half of me is already tired from
all the bullshit we're gonna have to hear,
things people are gonna find to get upset about, and so
dude, I'm just super stoked. I'm just super stoked for you potentially coming out here in spring and us potentially doing the Disneyland celebration alternative thing in spring.
I'm really excited
thinking about all the potential Andor stuff that could be coming to Galaxy's
I can't wait,
Edge,
dude. I'm so excited for all of our plans. Oh, and it all starts tonight, baby. Yes. So thank you so much for watching, guys. We will catch you in our Andor reactions, which will be up as soon as humanly possible. I'm going to play you guys out with some weird vaporwave George Lucas Panasonic. Let's do it.
I am always thinking of new dreams.
George Lucas.
I dream of visions which have yet to be seen.
いつも新しい夢を考えてきた。
Which have not yet been
見たことのないものを、
From dreams,
聞いたことのない音を
new reality.
現実の形にしてきた。
In this universe, new dreams and new friends.
この宇宙は新しい夢と仲間でいっぱいだ。
Panasonic, always new dreams, wonderful friends.
パナソニック、いつも新しい夢、素晴らしい仲間。
Panasonic.